Today is August 31st, 2017. My name is Joe Todd. This is an interview with Dennis Blaine Hoch in Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, and you live in Tulsa. Sir, where were you born?
Council Bluffs, Iowa.
And when's your birthday?
March 4th, 1947.
1947. Who is your father?
Name was Blaine Hoch, H-O-C-H.
And your mother?
Thelma Virginia Hoch.
What was her maiden name?
Waddell.
Waddell.
Mm-hmm.
You go through school on Council Bluff.
Mm-hmm.
What year did you graduate?
1960s. It's 1965.
1965.
It's a long time ago.
Yeah. Who was your favorite teacher?
My favorite teacher?
Mhm.
Oh, gosh. Her name was Herta Engelke.
E-N-G-L-E.
E-N-G-L-E. Engelke. Yeah. K-E-Y.
K-E-Y. Oh, I-N-G, okay. Why was she your favorite?
She's always dressed like a stormtrooper, more or less. You know, she had her hair up in a bun, and she wore combat boots. I remember her combat boots. You seen the movie Matilda?
Yes.
She looked like that lady on Matilda. She was a disciplinarian. She was one of those types. And she was a history teacher.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What did you do for recreation in high school?
I played guitar. I wasn't big enough to play sports, but I played guitar.
Mm-hmm.
I had a rock and roll band when I was in high school.
Okay. What was the name of the band?
The New Somes, N-O-U-S-S-O-M-M-E-S. It means we are.
Okay. What type of work your father do?
He worked for the railroad,
Work for the railroad.
Mhm.
Okay.
the Rock Island Railroad.
Rock Island. What did he do for?
He was a switchman.
Switchman. Okay. So you played the guitar. How big was Council Bluff in those years?
Oh, geez. Probably 26,000.
Do you remember the Gulf of Tonkin incident?
I do.
What do you think when you heard about this?
I remember sitting we had a TV. Back then, everything, TV was black and white TV, and I remember sitting there with my parents and thinking and saying, am I going to have to go over there? You know, and back then, I don't even remember when that happened.
It's 1964.
Four, somewhere. Yeah.
Johnson was president.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of kids, we were concerned. We didn't know what was going on. We were just wondering, are we going to have to get involved in that?
Mm-hmm.
The draft was still going on then,
Yes. What about the Cuban Missile Crisis?
1962.
1962.
I remember going in the hallways in the school. We'd have to get out in the hallways and kneel down down the hallways.
Duck and cover.
It was scary. But we didn't know, what was going to happen. And I don't think that we realized just how close we came.
Yes.
I think we came within about 15 minutes or so.
Yes.
But
What do you think about those duck and cover drills?
they were scary because we really didn't know what was going on, you get a bunch of kids, we were just kids. We didn't know what was going on.
We had one teacher, of course I went to Bartlesville, and it was all over. He said, they don't work.
I wondered that. Yeah. Well, what good is this going to do if they, I'd seen pictures of the bombs they dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. If they drop one of those, is this going to work?
Yeah. What did you do after high school?
I went to work at a place called Walter Music Company. I gave guitar lessons. I've played guitar all my life.
What kind of guitar did you have?
Classical. When I went to college, I studied classical music. I wanted to be a high school band teacher, but I studied classical guitar.
You have a Gibson?
I had a Gibson. I don't have one now. I sold it. But I had Ibanez, Ramirez guitars. Now I play Godin guitars, which is a Canadian guitar.
Okay.
They're nice guitars.
So how long you work at the Walter Music Company?
Till I went in the service.
And did you enlist or were you drafted?
I enlisted in the Navy.
When?
Was it 66? I think it was 66.
Recall the month and day?
I don't.
Okay. Was it spring, fall?
It was summer, I think.
Summer. Why'd you join the Navy over the Army or the Marines or the Air Force?
My dad had a friend who eventually became my stepdad that was a high-ranking officer in the Navy. And he encouraged me to go in the Navy.
Where'd you go for boot camp?
San Diego,
How'd you travel to San Diego?
on an airplane. Yeah.
Tell me about boot camp.
Oh gosh. Company 342. Master or chief gunner's mate John Gill was our company commander. And when I got to know him, I decided I wanted to be a gunner's mate. I wanted to go for be a gunner's mate.
What type of training did you have in boot camp?
Just the basic 15 weeks,
Of
just basic military training, how to stand, how to, the close order drill, and all the Navy training. And then I put in for gunnery school to go into gunnery, and spent a year on the Kitty Hawk on aircraft carrier.
Where'd you go for gunnery school?
Where was that? Coronado.
Coronado.
hmm
Tell me, how did gunnery school compare to boot camp?
Oh, a lot easier. More book work.
Now, what do you do in gunnery school?
It was small arms and explosives.
Okay.
How to arm the old claymores. Remember the old bouncing betties? How to do those? How to take care of those? And all the way from small arms up to the 16-inch.
16-inch artillery shells?
Didn't do artillery shells that much.
Okay. So 16-inch was...
That was the big on the battleships.
Okay.
We did a lot of book work on those, but
Okay.
we never really touched them.
Okay.
More small arms and the small landmines, explosives, and stuff like that.
Now, how do you work with landmines and explosives without blowing yourself up?
Either got to be very careful or very stupid.
So what'd you do in the Kitty Hawk?
I built bombs. We'd down the bomb magazines. We'd build the bombs, and we'd put them on the elevator and take them up to a crew that takes them up to the flight deck and loads them.
How do you build a bomb?
We put in the delay elements.
Now, what's a delay?
Okay, they had the fuse. You put in the nose. They had a cap on the front of it, and then you had to put in the fuse, and then we had a piece of paper that told us what delay element this flight was going to have. 10-second air burst, whatever, that kind of thing. We'd put those fuses in, and then we'd take them up to the next guy on the hangar bay, and then they would arm them. And then they'd take them, put them on a cart, and take them up to the planes. But
How long you on the Kitty Hawk?
gosh, 6 to 8 months.
Okay.
And then they were looking for people to go to. It was a cross between structural firefighting, grass fires, and EOD work. And so I went from there back to another school, and then they sent me to shore duty in Vietnam.
And before we get there, now was the Kitty Hawk off the coast of Vietnam?
Yeah, it was in the Gulf of Tonkin.
The Gulf of Tonkin.
It was known as Yankee Station.
Okay, Yankee Station.
Mm-hmm.
And Where are your quarters in the Kitty Hawk?
My quarters?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. It was on the port side all the way forward. If you're looking at the front of a carrier, you see how it comes out like this, and I was right in here. All I remember is I was right, my bunk was right directly under where the catapult stopped. When they shoot the planes off, that thing would hit that thing and bam, it'd wake me up every time.
How many in the crew in the Kitty Hawk?
Not counting, not counting the flight crews, I think it was about 5,000.
What division were you in?
Gunnery division.
Who's your gunnery officer?
Oh, I don't remember.
Okay.
I honestly don't remember.
What was your average day on the Kitty Hawk? What'd you do?
12 on, 12 off. But basically down in the bomb magazines, humping those bombs and loading them up. We'd get orders, you know, so many of this flight. It just worked 12 on, 12 off.
Oh, these are bombs for the airplanes?
Do what?
Were these bombs for the airplanes?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, mostly 500 pounders.
Okay.
That we loaded them on the F4s and on the A4s, and I think they had, what was it, A7, the intruders and stuff like that.
Now, was that your general quarters?
That was normal day.
That was normal day.
That was just a normal day.
Now, where was your general quarters on the?
My general quarters was, I fired. I was always ready for what they called line gun. If there's two ships and we need to bring the two ships together, and you know, during general quarters, I never could figure out why I had to be there because I did absolutely nothing. I would fire they had a 45-70 line gun. You'd have to fire the line between the two ships over, and I always fired the communication lines between the two ships for the phones. That was fun.
Now, where was your place to abandon ship on the Kitty Hawk?
Abandoned ship? I don't remember. I just go down with the ship. I don't know. That I don't remember at all.
So, what would you do in your off time in the Kitty Hawk?
We basically would go up to a place called Sponson 1, which was it's a little screened in area there, not screened, but a wired in area where you could go and you could stand outside and look down at the water, or you could go up to one of the observation decks and watch the flight ops. Mm-hmm. That's what we did, or we'd sit down in the downstairs and play cards. But
what's your most vivid memory of the Kitty Hawk?
Pulling into Subic Bay in Longapo in the Philippines. I don't know if you've ever been there or heard of Subic Bay.
Yeah.
You know, those places where you're not supposed to go,
yes,
that you don't want to tell your mom.
Now, why does the military always have a list of places off limits?
I guess they just didn't want you to go there.
And that's where everybody went.
That's where everybody went, yeah. I was Hong Kong. I went on R&R in Hong Kong, and they first thing they tell you, don't go here. That's where we went.
Because I was in the Army. Every time you go to an Army post, they give you a post of off-limits places.
Uh-huh.
But that's the first place we went.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah. Okay. So, from the Kitty Hawk, where did you go?
I went to some more gunnery school, and it wasn't EOD, but they taught us in landmines and stuff like that, and explosives.
Now, was there a certain type of landmine, or just
primarily
generic?
the bouncing Bettys and the Claymores?
Okay.
Because there was a lot of those bouncing Bettys over there, and I think there probably still is.
Yes.
But we were more interested at Fubai, there was the 8th Radio Research Field Station, and across from the Arvin compound. And we were naval support out of Da Nang. At Da Nang, there's the hospital compound, and our headquarters was Camp Tenshaw. And then right at the base of Marble Mountain, not quite as to Marble Mountain, there was the U.S. Naval Fire Station. right there at the far end of the the hospital compound. And, but that's where we were headquartered out of, and they sent us up to Fubai, and our job was primarily grass fires.
Grass fires.
Yeah, because they would start grass, like at Dong Ha, the ammo dump at Dong Ha, that was started by a grass fire. And they hit that one bunker with a rocket, a well-placed rocket. But we were trying to put out the grass fires. That's what we had, 4 huge military pumpers, water pumpers. And whenever they would start grass fires, we'd go up there and we'd try to put out the fires. And that's basically what we were doing at Hue too. They sent us up there to put out fires, and we never did see a fire.
Now, when did you arrive in Vietnam?
Oh, jeez. Toward the end of '66, August or September of '66, somewhere in there.
Because you said you joined the Navy in the summer of '66.
Yeah,
Would it be '67?
it might have been '67.
Okay.
I don't know the
Okay.
progression of time. It all happened so quick, you know.
So what were you thinking when you landed in Vietnam?
One thing I was thinking is, when I got, why, what the heck am I doing here? And it was hot. I remember that
Where did you land?
at Da Nang.
Da Nang. Okay.
And I remember going across that bridge at Da Nang. And there were Marines walking that bridge, and they were shooting down into the water. And that's the first gunfire I heard. That surprised me, caught me totally off guard. I remember that real well. But, man, that's 50 years ago.
So what unit were you assigned to?
That was the Naval Support Activity Da Nang.
Naval Support Activities of Da Nang.
Yeah.
Okay. What'd you do besides fight firefighters?
What'd I do?
Grass fires.
The one thing I remember most that we did that really is strong in my memory, and it even has a lot to do with this place, the museum. We used to go to orphanages a lot. We'd take our fire pumpers, the old deuce and a halves, and we went to an orphanage in Hue one time. I don't know if you remember where that was at. It was a Catholic orphanage in Hue. And we'd have parties, birthday parties, Christmas parties, and we'd have ice cream and cake for the little kids. And I was in here giving a tour one time to a guy and his Vietnamese wife, and she says to me, she saw my Vietnam hat, and she says, "Where were you?" And I said, "I was in Hue." And she says, did you ever go to the orphanage in Hue? And I said, "Yes." She says, "You used to take the kids for a ride on your truck, didn't you?" I said, "Yes." And she says, "And you'd give us ice cream, wouldn't you?" I went, "Yeah." And I'm starting to get one of these deals, And she says, "I rode on your truck." I about lost it. She remembered.
Yeah.
And that to me, that's special.
Yeah.
That's one of those special deals. We did a lot of that.
Now, what does EOD? No, EOD is an acronym for what?
Explosive Ordnance Disposal.
And what do you do?
You blow up unexploded ordnance. We did that. My last duty station was U.S. Naval Gunfire Range, Culebra, Puerto Rico. We did test firing. We had ships, planes. We'd set up target situations, and they had unexploded ordnance. We'd go out and get it, take it out in the water, and explode it in the water.
Now, in Vietnam, were you there for Tet 68?
Mm-hmm.
Where were you when Tet broke out?
Where was I? In Hue.
In Hue. What happened?
Oh, gosh. We just got overrun. We weren't ready for it. You know, I was pretty low on the totem pole. I just did what I was told to do, go where I was told to go, and we had to leave.
So how did you get out?
We just got in our trucks and went to Da Nang.
What did you take with you?
Just our basic stuff. We left most of our trucks. We left everything. But
What were you thinking when you heard that they're coming?
they're coming. Let's get the heck out of here.
So how far is it from Wake to Da Nang?
What was that? I don't know, it took over an hour. It took well over an hour to get there.
So what did you do during Tet?
We just went up there to Hue City, and like I said, they told us to sit at the right side of that gate. And we did, that's basically all we did through the whole time. We were just there. And the Marines and everybody else went in, you know.
What were you doing at the gate?
Just sitting there. Just sitting there.
In case you were needed for
In
something?
case we were needed. Yeah.
Were you ever needed?
Nope. Nope.
How long did Tet last?
Gosh, I don't know. How long was it?
What, 30, 45 days? Or?
Yeah, it was, I don't remember. I know we got out of there. I don't know whether it was still going on when we got down to Da Nang or not, I don't know.
So how long were you at the gate there? Do you recall?
I don't know, 4 or 5 hours.
Okay.
Yeah, not long at all. There were guys that were there a lot longer than I was.
And then you were in Da Nang. What'd you do in Da Nang? What doing Tet?
We had a lot of fires. And I remember we had a lot of different fires in downtown, down by Tenshaw and around and over. Didn't go too close to Marble Mountain. But we just basically stayed there on call.
How long were you in Vietnam?
Oh, gosh. I did 2 tours. 67, 68. And I left in 60, toward the end of 68. I think I was there for Christmas, 68.
So did you extend in Vietnam or
Once.
what? Once.
Stayed with the unit. 'Cause we were pretty close. We did a lot of stuff that we did together.
Like what? What would you do?
We played basketball. That I was horrible at.
Yeah.
Everybody was taller than me.
Who's your commanding officer?
Oh gosh, what was his name? I don't remember. I remember a gunner's mate chief. What was his name? He was a first class gunner's mate, E6 gunner's mate. That's the one I remember most of. But the other one I don't remember. I don't even know if I ever met him.
Yeah. What's your most vivid memory of Vietnam?
I remember going to those orphanages. I really remember that. And I do remember we got a call one time in Phu Bai that there was one of the orphanage, a Catholic orphanage had been hit by a mortar attack. And I remember going up there and I figured, we're going to have to gather up some unexploded ordnance. There wasn't any. But we spent close to 24 hours picking up little bodies. I remember we had to go up there and pick up those little bodies and put them in body bags. That's the one I remember most. We spent almost 2 days doing that and cleaning that up. And I've always said, why were we doing that?
You at Darn Hall with the ammo dumping up.
Hmm.
What happened?
We were just putting out grass fires. They were setting fires in the grass area.
Who was setting fires?
I guess it was the VC.
DC. Yeah.
Yeah, and there was a lot of grass fires, and we were trying to, water them down when that one big one went up. And that was a mess.
Yeah. How long did that blow?
Was it 24 hours? It burned for 24 hours, I think. Pretty close.
Yeah. What are you thinking? The ammo dump going up. That's all your ammo.
That's it. Yeah. Surely they got to have more somewhere. We better go to that one and take care of that one.
Why couldn't we go into North Vietnam?
Why didn't we? Oh gosh. I think it was all political. They didn't want us to do that. They wanted to, I mean, we went places that we never were. It's like, they'd say, we never were in Cambodia and Laos. But, we were.
Why were we in Vietnam?
We thought, I remember when I was in high school, we were thinking, it's a domino effect. We got to go in there. We got to stop this. We got to stop it. And with guys like me and you, we just did what we were told to do. Not question it. And there was a lot more involved in it than meets the eye.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
So from Vietnam, where'd you go?
I went to when I left Vietnam, I went to a place called Culebra, Puerto Rico. It's a U.S. Naval gun range, that was supported by a naval base called Roosevelt Roads in San Juan. And we ran the gunfire range. We set up target situations for ships and planes and stuff like that. That was fun.
You set up targets for ships on land.
On land. There at Culebra, there was a peninsula there called Flamingo Beach, and we'd set up targets, and the ships would pull up on the target range, and they'd have a forward spotter. They'd come over, and we'd give them their target situations, and they'd shoot at the targets.
The forward. Now, where's this forward spotter?
There's somebody that would come over, and give the ships their coordinates and stuff like that.
Is he on land?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they did it. That's the way they did it there. And then we had 81 millimeter mortars that fired white phosphorus, or Willie Pete, and we'd fire that out, which would simulate. We'd fire it at the beach, and that would simulate a fire going back to the ship. So they'd have to shift their guns around. So we'd set up these target situations for the ships. Then we'd also have targets for the planes. They could check into our range, and they'd do that. And then we also had targets that we pulled with an old PT boat. And the planes would come in and strafe the...
Now, how long is the tow line?
As long as we can get it. Well, the longer the better.
Now, what kind of target were you towing?
It's just a big old barge, and it had a big old canvas target on it, a big old circle target. They'd come in and they'd strafe that thing, and we're up there in the... I never told my mom.
And you were in Puerto Rico how long?
About a year.
Were you still with EOD this time?
Well, no, I was just a basic gunner's mate at that time.
Okay.
There was no EOD stuff. I mean, we had unexploded ordnance, but back then they had they still had, I don't know if they still were called UDT. There was a lot of guys that came, maybe they were SEALs, I don't know. They'd come and do it. They'd pile big bunches of, ammunition up, the unexploded stuff in the ocean, and they go down and blow it up. But that was fun.
So you're in Puerto Rico how long?
About a year.
And then what'd you do?
Then I got out.
Got out.
hmm
When did you get your discharge?
1971.
1971. What'd you do after your discharge?
Went home, got a job, went to college.
Where'd you go?
I did my undergraduate at Dana College in Blair, Nebraska. Got my degree in music education to teach high school. And then I went to University of Nebraska and got my graduate degree in music education.
You said you're at the game of the century.
Mm-hmm.
1971 in Norman.
1971.
I was too.
Was that the game of the century?
Oh, they've had several games they call the game of the century.
Yeah. It was, who was the, Johnny Rogers.
Yes. We had Jack Miller as our quarterback.
Yes, yes. And I remember standing on the sidelines, and there was an OU player that was running this way, and he was looking over his shoulder to catch the ball, and they met right there, and they just, it was like two cars running in.
And they said whoever had the ball the last was going to win the
Yeah.
game. It was like,
Was it 14-17?
no, it was like 31-34 or something. It was like
Okay.
3 or 4 points difference.
Yeah, it was only just a few points difference.
I remember that clip on the opening when Johnny Rogers ran back for a touchdown. There was a clip that they
Yes,
didn't get.
I remember that, yeah.
Anyway,
That's,
we're getting off.
yeah.
So, did you teach?
I taught for 3 years in Nebraska, western Nebraska, the little country schools primarily. And then I got out of that.
Yeah.
And went to work for a company called the Self-Help Foundation that did agricultural development overseas.
So when did you come to Tulsa?
1985.
Why'd you come here?
While the company I worked for went broke. We were subsidized by John Deere tractors, and when they had the farm crisis, we lived in northern Iowa at that time, our company went bankrupt. So I came down here to find a job.
You find one?
Yeah, I worked at the Western Sizzlin' on 21st and Sheridan. Became the manager.
So when did you retire?
4 years ago.
So what are you doing now?
I work at the Military History Museum. I spend every day down here, Tuesday through Saturday.
Yeah. Would you join the Navy again?
I probably would. I probably would. I know there's a lot of changes, but I probably would. Yeah.
I'd like to do a word association. I'll
Okay.
give you some words and you give me your reaction.
Okay.
First one is boot camp.
Long hours.
Gunnery school.
Fun.
USS Kitty Hawk.
Bird farm.
Bird farm. Bird farm. What, for the airplanes?
Yeah.
Vietnam.
Confusion.
Tet.
We weren't ready.
EOD.
EOD. Stupid.
Puerto Rico.
I don't know. Puerto Rico. I liked it on Culebra, but I did not like Puerto Rico, living in San Juan. My wife was there with us for a while, and we came home one time, and somebody had spray painted on the side of our house, "Yankee, go home." So I didn't like
Yeah.
mainland part.
Lyndon Johnson.
Oh, geez. He had an agenda, personal agenda.
Which was,
I don't know if he really knew what his agenda was.
Richard Nixon.
Oh, gosh. He played saxophone, didn't he?
That was Jimmy Carter.
Oh, that was Jimmy Carter. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. Nixon. I think he was caught in a position he didn't know how to handle.
How do you want to be remembered?
As someone that is kind and gentle and cares for people.
What you do to here at the museum? What do you do?
What do I do?
Mm-hmm.
I give tours. I go to schools. I talk to kids. Try to tell people about somebody like Junior.
Mm-hmm.
You know, those people. Though we have people like that today, those people were cut from a different cloth.
Yes.
And
He's World War II.
those World War II, that great generation,
Yes.
you know, they put their lives on hold and didn't know if they were going to be able to pick them back up again. And I want kids to know about those people and people that, you know, put their lives on hold to make sure they have the freedoms they have.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I like this place.
Now, what's the name of this museum?
Military History Center.
In Broken Arrow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Anything else you want to talk about?
I enjoyed the 486 being here.
I had my own reserve unit.
That's a good group.
Oh yeah, we have fun.
Yeah.
Well, sir, this is an excellent interview.
Well, thank you.
I want to thank you for your service and thank you for the interview.
Thank you very much.
And again, this is August 31st, 2017. My name is Joe Todd. This has been an interview with Dennis Blaine Hoch in Broken Arrow, Oklahoma.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.